Dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy I have the opportunity to talk to you today. I hope you had some good coffee and you are ready for the next session. You are, perfect, perfect. And I want to start this with a question. And my question is, what is this? Where's, huh? No, no. Is it Eric? Eric is not here anymore.
It looks like a pipe.
Like a what?
A pipe.
No, it's not a pipe. So this is a baton for a relay race. Yeah? It's a pipe. It is a pipe. Yeah. Yeah. So this was, I think, 3 weeks ago. Yeah? And I learned, and that's very interesting, that you do not win a relay race because you have the fastest runners. You win because you have smooth handovers of those. Yeah? And it can also happen, what we saw with the team of Jamaica 2 weeks ago in Tokyo, where Keshane, unfortunately, dropped this. And that then is the end of hope, because then you are disqualified. So why am I saying this? This is very similar to advanced biofuel projects or first-of-a-kind projects. The money is there. You have the runners. The sticks are the projects, and some of them fall. Why is that? So, the runners, most of them, they are completely new on their feet. The off-taker has never bought it, the bank has never financed it, the EPC player has never built it. Okay? So now let's take a look what happens, and we want to unpack how this can be solved. Check. Okay. So I want to take with you this journey here. Do I have a time somewhere? Okay. This journey, we want to start with, why is it so difficult to finance a first-of-a-kind plant? That's number one. Number two, how is it financed, or how are they financed? And number three, how do you structure a special purpose vehicle to finance such a project, or to do such a project? Some little words about Biosolutus. So we are a boutique consultancy. We help tech innovators to break out of the pilot and of the demo, conquer the global market, and build what has never been built before. And that's our topic today, the first-of-a-kind projects. We do this in 3 areas. The first one is what I've done the last 25 years, which is to commercialize non-proven, non-validated technologies. And the second is to develop first-of-a-kind projects. So before we finance something, we should know what we are financing. This is a project I have worked on in Central Europe, and this is a 2G bioethanol plant, which turns any type of lignocellulose, in this case it was wheat straw, into a bouquet of green products, 2G ethanol, vinasse, lignin, and others. So this project was planned with a TIC, a total investment cost of 400 million. We talked about this, Ruben, about this number. So this number was 400 million. And to simplify a little bit, let's say 70 to 80% are CAPEX. Yeah? So this is round about 320 million of CAPEX. And this is divided in these parts. And it's very interesting because 40% is the inside battery limits. This is the core process. This is what's new, what is disruptive, never been proven. 40% is the outside battery limits, and 20% is the EPC. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, he's nodding, that's good. Then I was not totally wrong about this. Okay, so the bank says, I want to have 25% of pool liquidated damages. 25%. In this case, it was 65 million of guarantees. That's a lot of money, isn't it? So now we said, oh, come on, how can it be 65? That is the total CAPEX you want. And they said, look, I want the same for the outside battery limits, because if the inside battery limits don't work, the outside battery limits have no value for me, okay? So we said, come on, and please remember this number from the EPC player. Because if you see here, and there was the EPCM, this number here, the revenues, they are basically the guarantees they were asking for, the banks. Huh? So now let's take a look why it is so challenging to finance a first of its kind plant. And at this point, it's very helpful to make a comparison. And we take a look at next of a kind plants. Those are technologies like wind or solar that have been built thousands of times, standard, optimized, the opposite of first of a kind. So if you, oh, I didn't bring my glasses. Okay, so if you have a standard technology like wind, the technology basically is mature. The value chain is established. You have your suppliers, you have your buyers, you have the logistics. If you want to build a 1G ethanol plant, it costs 1/5 roundabout. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So it costs roundabout 1/5. The ramping up time, this is a very important number, is double, triple of a 2G plant than from a 1G plant. You will not, in wind, you get a full wrap of an EPC player, and the financing we're going to take a look at. Bless you. So what is the consequence? So the bank covenants at a NOAC plant is 80% of debt. So if you go to the bank and you say, I want, for a 2G project, I want to have 80% of debt, then you look into a face of a banker where you don't know, is he going to cry or he's going to laugh? Yeah? The debt service coverage is the double, and the payback time is half. Does it sound like working? Okay, we take a look. So, how do you finance projects? Most of you probably know. So you have a capital stack, and you see where is the money coming from. This here is the capital stack of wind or solar. Yeah? You can see senior debt is around about 80%. Corporate, let's say, is 20%. You get some grants here, you get some subsidies. This is basically it. Standardized, worked on leverage and optimization. So now what is this? This is the capital stack of a FOAK plant. It looks different, right? It is basically the opposite. Huh? So where you have 80% of senior debt, you have roundabout here 60, 70, 80% of equity you have to bring, and the colors are very different. Yeah? It's extremely, extremely fragmented. You need a mixture of different types of finance. You have to stick together piece by piece to get a finance. And now look at the senior debt. This is what you need from the bank, where you wish it is 50 or 60%. I cannot see it. Yeah? It's hardly there. I want to give you two examples of such finance. This is the amazing project of LanzaJet, Freedom Pines in Georgia, and it will this year, and I think you mentioned it, going to produce round about 10. The nameplate of this plant is 10 million US gallons of SAF and biodiesel. And the capex is 264 million euros. So you see a lot of colors here. Yeah? It's not like the opposite of the wind. Yeah? And this project was mainly financed by equity grants, which you can see here. A loan, a concessional loan at dreamful conditions, and shareholder notes. Shareholder notes is basically a loan from the owners. Yeah? So that is Suncor, I think it's Shell, it's LanzaTech. Did you hear me saying senior debt? No. So there's no senior debt here, and I need to accelerate a little bit looking at the time. So you can see here another stack that is of the sunlight liquid technology of Clariant, okay, in Podari. I've just been there 2 months ago. Beautiful plant, awesome technology, and the announced capex was 140 million euros, and you can see here it's paid mainly by Clariant and then by grants. Okay. Did you hear me saying that? Seen the debt? No, nobody heard me saying that again. Okay, so now we talked about why is it difficult, how does the financing look like. Now let's take a look on how do you structure such a project. The heart is the special purpose company or vehicle. You can see here in the middle, the feedstock. At the Clariant plant, for example, it is 250,000 tons of wheat straw as inbound. That means every 20 minutes, a truck of 30 tons of wheat straw is coming. Then you produce the products. We have talked about this. Down here, you can see what is needed to plan and execute and realize the plant. You have the project development team, the technology provider, the key equipment provider, the EPC player, the O&M, and here you see where the money comes from. Yeah? We have looked at this. Equity, banks, public funding. So everybody wants this project to run. Everybody wants to enter a new industry, create a new industry with a flagship project. Let's take a look at the interest of everyone. So the public funding, they say, I want you to follow the RED 3, the ISCC, the different policies. I want that you prove your technology, ideally in my country, and I want you to create jobs and other social benefits. So the bank says, I want high interest, I want enough buffer to get my loan back, I want to give all the risk away. I'm not going to take any risk. I want flexibility. And I want basically all these contracts you have seen to work and to be there. The special purpose company says basically the same what the bank wants, but they say, hey, I want to maximize my profit. I want to reduce the cost. So it's not exactly wanting to have higher interest. Then they want to shift the risk as well. They want to have also financial buffer and flexibility. So now look at the others. The EPC says, I want high profits, so it's low cost for the SPV. I want to have limit guarantees, the opposite of what the 2 wants. The technology provider says the same, the key equipment provider says the same, O&M says the same. Feedstock and products and offtake, they want the same basically, just the other way around. One wants high prices, the other one wants low prices. Everybody's still pulling at the same rope? Doesn't look like it, huh? So this is quite a hassle if you do this. Yeah? I've done this the last 15 years. You have a lot of meetings where you sit together and you go through the interests and conflicts for 100 times. And this is the key of all. This is what I call the triangle of tension. The bank goes to the SPV goes to the EPC, and they say, look, I want you to give me an EPC lump sum turnkey FIDIC silver book contract. Okay? I'm going to give you need to give me guarantees over 65 million, pooled LDs, which is performance as well as delay. And I want you to invest something, show the skin in the game. That's my favorite words. The EPC says, what do you dream of? Yeah, is Christmas? So he says, I cannot do it. But let's take a look. So he goes to the technology provider. He says, come on, technology provider, I cannot take your performance risk. You have to do that. You have to guarantee to us the yield, the availability, the efficiency, and much more. Then he says, and I need from you all the data, dear technology provider. Technology provider says, look, are you completely out of your mind? I have developed this for the last 10 years. I'm not giving you anything. Mm-hmm. And then the EPC says, I want to build this as soon as possible with low cost. The technology provider says, no, you need to give me time. We need to optimize. We need a longer ramp up. And basically, the bank goes through the SPV to the technology provider and says, so first of all, you have to invest 5% of equity. The technology provider is getting a heart attack. Why? Because at this moment, there's only one player who has invested millions into this. Only one player. And who's this? That's the technology provider. He has invested from his revenues, from everything he got, he has invested millions to develop the technology. Okay? And now he should take all the risk that usually the entrepreneur, the SPV should take, or the SPC. He says, no, guy, this is not my job, otherwise I'll become the project developer by myself. Yeah? So he says, look, I can give you limited guarantees, that's fine, not more than my license fee, but that's it, more I cannot do. So where is the baton now? Huh? Baton dropping or not dropping? Because if the EPC player says, I can give you 10% of guarantee on the LDs, yeah, of the capex that is, what did we say, 320, 32 million. The technology provider says, hey, okay, I can give you my license fee, let's say it's 10 million, then you are at 42 million, and they're missing over 23, 25 billion. So who's going to take that? So this is the triangle of tension. So I have sit in this many times, either as technology provider or as EPC player. And you discuss this with the bank again and again, and then 2 years have passed, everybody finds out, no, it doesn't work. Okay? And this has to change. This cannot continue, so you have to find a way on how you better distribute the risks to others, how certain partners can be more courageous to take more risks, but who can this be? So, what can we do to unlock this? And that is basically the question I want to ask you, because the time is over. So maybe you have some good ideas.
You know what? We're gonna give you a few extra minutes here because you can't leave us with a cliffhanger like that. You need to solve it for us before you leave the stage.
Yeah. So I did this actually very smart. I wanted to say we can talk about this having a coffee.
No.
Yeah, but I can give some ideas. Oh, where we are. Ah, okay, sorry. On this we went to. Ah, there was. Oh, I will get there.
You don't want to show it.
No, I can show it. I mean, there's no universal. So there are several ways, and in this job, then, if you do first of its kind, you need to be extremely creative and flexible. So what is possible? What I have done is created a joint venture or a partnership of the EPC player, the technology provider, and the key equipment provider. It's still difficult to reach the 65%. And there are still discussions. The technology provider says, hey, key equipment provider, I need an availability guarantee for you. I'm not responsible if your machine, if your box doesn't work. Key equipment provider says, how can I take the risk if your process doesn't work? So you have to get together, and you have to get to know each other and learn to trust each other. Yeah, that is handing over the baton. This can be a joint venture, this can be a silent alliance. At the end, it has to be one single point of contact for the SPV, because the SPV says, I don't want to deal with John, with Matilda, I don't want this. I need one single point. Okay? So that is one part you can do. Is that enough, or you want more? I can give one more. One more. One more. Okay. So in Eastern Europe, at a project, we got together the largest farmers. We said, come on, guys, we're going to found an institution, an organization together with you, where you have 60% of this company which holds shares from the SPV. Okay? So the farmers are basically investing into the SPV as well, bless you. And by them investing, you have more equity, you have lower debt, and there's more confidence of the banks that you have involved in another one from the value chain that has not also been on his feet as well.
Thank you, Melich. You started out, your first picture, I think we all remember it, was this runner who dropped the baton, the one that you showed. And these runners, they're professionals. This is what they do for a living. And everything depends on them not dropping it, and still they drop it. So what would you say is the sort of most underestimated factor that makes us drop the baton?
Yeah. Okay. So we have seen in the past, there have been several technologies, for example, in second generation ethanol. DuPont, Abengoa, you name it. Novozymes was inside, Beta Renewables. All of them basically, Clariant, all of them basically stopped the project after 4 or 5 years of commissioning. This is the most critical part, and that is totally underestimated. No? So everybody, and there's a psychological name for it, I think it's called, it's a bias. So everybody has a bias of its own technology that's not going to fail. The startup will be done in 1 year, but that doesn't happen if you have a new technology. And then everybody puts the financial model in that way that they say, okay, we can finance 1 year. But then it's going to become 5 years.